Welcome. Let's look at this React project. We are going to be building a React app. So we're going to be looking at the process that is involved, the steps, the procedure. If you're given a React app to build, first of all, you're going to be breaking the requirements needed for the app to be built down into components before you start. And we're going to be trying to do this today. So we are looking at a project, and the project says that this is called from the Open Classroom uh, React lessons. That's where I got this project from, and I want us to look at it together and solve it. Now, suppose we've been asked to create an app that renders a sortable, searchable list of products. So you can see this is a list of products. We want it to be sortable, and we also want it to be searchable. This is the search column. You can type bin here, bin bag, so that it will come out. You can also sort by name or by price. So this app, this React app, has to be or has to render a sortable, searchable list of items in an imaginary store, and allows the user to add and delete products from the list. So it will also allow the user to add and delete. So if you click here, you can see this, you can delete. Then if you come down here and put anything here and click on save, you can add. So you can see the things that could be done with this application. So it allows the user to add and delete products from the list. Now, based on some unstyled HTML, it's supposed to look something like this. So it will actually look like this if it is not styled. You remember, you can always add your style, your CSS, to make it look much more better. But this is basically how it's going to look like. It's going to render a sortable, searchable list of products. So this is the search column if you want to search, and this is if you want to sort. These buttons are for sorting. These buttons are for deleting, and this form is for adding. So you can see that it actually has everything you want. This looks like a very simple application, but it's very powerful. You can use it to do a whole lot of things, you understand? Even without some of the functionalities here, you can use it to build powerful applications. So I would like us to study it and learn how to produce something similar to this. Now, what do we see when we look at this very app? What do we see? How do we understand it and be able to break it down into components? Now, there is a search input at the top that should filter the products as you type, so that only products you match the current searchable strings are shown. So this is the search input. So anything you put here, if it matches what is inside the your database or anywhere that you're calling your list from, it will come out here. So that's the first thing, the search input. Now, secondly, the only show products in stock checkbox should hide any product that aren't in stock, shown in red. So once you click on this, there's a button here beside this only show products in stock. Once you click on it, it will show the ones that are not in stock. It will highlight the ones that are not in short in the shop or in the store by showing them in red. So that means that all the ones in black, all the products in black, they are actually in stock, but these ones are exhausted. So that's why they are in red. Now, thirdly, in the table, each column should be sortable in ascending and descending order, and the current sort should be highlighted. Okay, so this is the table. Now, each of these columns, you can see that you can sort this one up or down, and this is showing blue because the descending order is the current sorting. So we are sorting by name in descending order. That's why it is showing blue. But these other ones also show that we can actually sort it because of these two arrow buttons. But that is not the current sort that is happening. So the current sort that is happening is the descending order. That's why it's showing in blue. So any of these columns are sortable. Very, very fantastic. This is very powerful application. Now, fourthly, on the right, there are buttons to remove any of the items from the list. Now, on the right, you can see buttons to remove any of the items. So once you click here, this beanbag will be removed. Once you click here, this forte piano will be removed. So you have the delete button beside any of the list. And lastly, at the bottom, there is a form to create a new product. When you hit save, it should add your new products to the list. So we have a form here where you can actually create new products. So this is the form. So you put the name, category, price, in stock. If it is in stock, you indicate and you click on save. Once you click, it comes out in this list. So this list is very sortable. This is the total list of everything, both the ones in stock and the ones that are not in stock. Once you click here, the ones that are not in stock will be shown in red. Once you type in here, you have specific one that you want. The list will be showing only the one that is that matches the search string. So that is the summary of what you are supposed to produce. Now, we are not going to address how we get the data for now or save it after changes have been made. Instead, let's assume that we have a JSON API that provides us with the data like this. So this is actually the data bot. This is actually the data from a JSON API, but you can actually persist your data in database. So let's work as if we're not having database now. But as we move on, we'll learn how to connect database to this, and it will actually work better. Now, let's continue. So you can see from the data we have products, that's the table is products. Then inside it you have ID, then we have category, we have price, we have stock, true or false, this is boolean, this number, float, and this is string. So you remember how we created data schema? We can use data schema to do this and it will work perfectly well. So let's continue. To create our demo app, we are going to closely follow the recommended steps for defining and creating a React app in the official documentation for getting started in React. So we are going to follow the official guidelines. Now we are going to be building something somewhat more complex than the example app in the documentation. So this what we are building is actually more advanced. Like I said, you're gonna be, if you want to use it to build any other application, it's gonna be super easy and super good, and you can do a whole lot of things. Now, and using the directory setup that Create React App has provided us with, but the steps are the same thing. So we are going to be building something somewhat more complex than the example in the app documentation, and using the directory setup that Create React App has provided us with, but the steps are the same. Okay, this means our first steps will be to identify the components in our mockup. So this is our mockup. We need to identify the components in this our mockup. That's the first thing you do whenever you're giving a React app to produce. This something like this could have been done with Figma. You understand? Somebody will do the initial design, depending on what the client wants. So now, after doing that design, it is now very important that the first step will be to identify the components in the markup and write static version of the app. So we'll be able to identify the components and write a static version of the app. Now, step one, defining components. That's the first thing you do, to define components. So immediately after defining the components, we can start coding immediately. Now, we want our components to be as simple and as easy to understand as possible. Each component should represent a discrete bit of logic and have the single purpose. There are no hard, so very, very important, whenever you want to bring out a component, make sure that that component represents a discrete bit of logic and have a single purpose. There are no hard and fast rules of composing components, but if something seems complicated, it can often be refactored into a new component. Let's walk through the process of breaking up our mockup into component parts. So let's do it. Well, we'll start by just listing all the paths we see. So first of all, let's be able to list all the paths that we see. We'll see whether they are up to being components or whether they can be broken down. Now we have number one, a search field that queries the list. That's the first component. That is this one, a search field that queries the list. So the next will be this checkbox, I think. So a stocked filter that also queries the list, reducing it to stocked item. So this is the stocked filter. So this is actually a filter. So when you click it, it filters and brings only the ones that are in stock. So a stock filter showing us the ones that are in stock in black. So that's the next component. Now a table of products which itself is made up of. So this table of products is a component, but inside it there are a couple of components. A column heading that each have two buttons for sorting. So it has this column heading, you can see it. Each of them has two buttons for sorting. So this is a component on its own. Now it's also rows of products that each have a delete button. So we have these rows of products, each of them having delete button. So these are also components. Now finally we have a form for adding to the list, which is made up of three test inputs, a checkbox and a save button. So the final thing there is this form here. So let's move on. So those are the main components that we can easily identify by looking at the mock-up. Now the first two items seemed related. The first two items is the search field and the stock filter. So two of them seem related since they both filter the form. Okay, I can see them comprising a single component. An argument could be made to break them up into two components, but since neither of them is reused, since we are not reusing them, and their functionality is going to be pretty similar, we'll keep it at one to restrict the number of components. So we'll try to restrict the number of components by identifying if two components are having similar functionalities and they are not going to be reused. Now the products table seems like a component by itself, perhaps with nested components for the sorting and deleting buttons. So is the product table is a component by itself, but then it has other components nested inside it, like the sorting at the header and the delete button by the size of the list. Now everything on this list pertains to products in some way. So I'm going to nest these three components under the product. So we are nesting the three components under the products component that will be responsible for rendering everything else. So now the component tree for our app ends up looking like this. So this is the component tree for our app. It's very, very important that you understand this component tree, because we know that React is a one-way binding framework, so that we know how the binding should be done. Very importantly, you need to know the use of props and states. You can use props to affect an event. So from, let's say, this child component, you can affect an event onto up like this using prop. Whereas state, if you define the state, let's say in this product, which is the common component for all of them, all the childs will be able to see them. So it's a one-way thing. So you use prop for event to cause an event to be taken up, whereas you use state to pass information down. So take note of that. So look at our component tree. You have products as the main component, the main app. Then you have the filter, product form, and product table. Then under product table, you now have product table headers and product row. So those are the things that we're going to be looking at. You can see it's very, very well established. Always know how to nest components into another, so that it will allow for easy flow of information, so that with our prop we can easily affect event handling. Then also with our state we can easily flow down information down. So that is what we're going to be designing. Please If you have any questions and concerns, drop them in the comment section. In subsequent classes, we'll start this design. Thank you and God bless you.